The first potato chip was devoured in the 1850s. It was nearly 100 years later before Joe Spud Murphy, the owner of an Irish chip company called Tato, developed the technology that allowed him to add seasoning during the manufacturing process. Any idea as to what that first flavoring was?
Ranch.
Salt and pepper.
That's right, barbecue. Since then, chip flavors have been bound only by the imaginations of the companies. Today, we celebrate these innovators by violently ripping open a bag of Ruffles and mauling the chips therein while we ask, "You tried that?" Here we are at You Tried That, the snacking podcast where we try snacks and let you know what we think. I'm Nick Novak with my pals Chad Hancock.
Howdy.
And Nick Geiger.
Hey there.
Boys, we are recovering from the Oreo Championship. How was the fallout?
Boy, that was a lot of sugar. So I made it worse because after I left your place, I went to go meet up with another friend of ours. We were just going to meet and just hang out for a little bit. So we decided to go to Oberweis, which is a dairy place. And they have my favorite chocolate milk in the world there. So I'm like, well, might as well get this chocolate milk. And I got a huge glass. And then all I'd eaten that day was, like a banana and a croissant and then 25 Oreos or whatever the fuck it was. And then a giant glass of chocolate milk. And I literally started shaking by the end of the glass because there was so much sugar that I had consumed that day. I did not feel good. Finally, later that night,
Indeed,
I had some regular dinner, and then at that point, it was fine. But for a while there, it was very rough, and I don't think we should ever eat that many Oreos again.
This is a while after, and I don't want to eat an Oreo. Like, I see them in the store, and I'm reacting negatively to them.
Well, I wouldn't go that far because I just bought a package of the new peanut butter pie Oreos yesterday. So
I just told Chad before we started, I have had one Oreo since. My wife had bought a package of double stuff, and I was like, "You monster, why would you bring those in the house?" And I took 2 bites of it and was looking around to go, ding, but I couldn't. But I just finished it. That was not a good weekend for me in general, as people who listen to those episodes know I was pretty sick. So the rest of that week, I was still fighting off a fever, and I started getting really bad acid reflux every time I ate. And then I went on that fishing trip. So I still ate and drank my way through it, but I was basically in constant chest pain. We drank, with between 6 guys, I think 7 bottles of bourbon and like half a bottle of gin and 2 cases of beer. And I also ate. I had steak and beef bourguignon and biscuits and gravy and
what else?
Cheez-Its. And I also had Pringles. But it wasn't
No. Go back. We don't care about the rest. How many boxes of Cheez-Its were on the trip?
I bought a big Costco box that hit the individual lunch snack packets, and we ate about half. I have half of them sitting in my closet here. I brought the Pringles to your house, but I didn't eat as much as I normally would because, like I said, every time I tried to swallow, it burned in my chest. But the upshot is that I lost about 10 pounds, which I have since found. The moral of the story is I'm still fat. It's just the only way to lose weight was get sick.
Did you catch any fish?
We caught a fair amount of fish. Normally we don't. We found a spot.
This time you actually put the poles in the water?
This time I set my sandwich down and actually started casting. The problem is there's a guy. We go with a group of 4 guys from work, and one of those guys is father-in-law. The guy from
those guys is what?
Father-in-law.
One of those guys is father-in-law?
One of the guys is apostrophe
Okay.
father-in-law.
I was like, one of those guys is...
And I suddenly became Lithuanian. We go with 4 guys, and one is father-in-law. So we'll go out there, and the guy who runs the trip, it's the guy who is father-in-law. He is nuts about fishing, so he will just go out. We'll sit out there in the water all day, and he'll just boom, 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 cast for 5 hours. The 2 of them went up there before the rest of us, and the father-in-law turns to me and was like, "We fished for 9 hours yesterday." I was like, "Good God, no! That's
sounds
terrible."
Boring as fuck.
So by the last 3 days,
not for father-in-law.
The father-in-law and the 3 of us got on a boat and just floated around and took a boat ride and drank a lot of gin and tonic while the other guy was just furiously fishing to catch like 2 fish. And then at the end of the day, we found this spot like right around like from like 7:30 to 9. There's like a wood pile. There's a ton of walleye and bass in there, and we would catch a bunch. So we would just go out for like 2 hours at the end of the night, catch a bunch, and then go back and drink some more. So.
And then you told me at the end of the trip you took father-in-law out alone and shot him like Fredo.
Yeah, it was sad, but you know he's slower now and he's got a bad hip. And I said, "Hey, father-in-law, we must end things." And he was like, "Why are you speaking in a weird accent? Why do you have a gun? You're holding the wrong way." Oops, father-in-law.
Chad, you recently, between then and now, have gone to the Big Apple.
Yeah, I was in New York City over Memorial Day weekend just for like a long weekend vacation, and we ate so much food. At this point, when I've been to New York City a couple times, so I've seen all the touristy stuff. So really the main reason that we go is just to eat food. Couple highlights. I ate at Smack, which you and I have been to together, Geiger, which is a place that just serves all mac and cheese. I mean, it comes out to you in like a hot cast iron skillet, and we actually went there twice. And we got like a bunch of bagels. We ate at a Korean steakhouse where they like grill it right in front of you. That was like a pound of meat or something like that. But the highlight was we ate at this restaurant called Per Se, which is like a very...
I've heard of that place.
Yeah, it's a very fancy restaurant. So anybody that's heard of French Laundry, it's the same guy, Thomas Keller, but his New York City restaurant. And so it's like one of those 3 Michelin stars, like suit and tie required, etc. And that was like a 9-course meal, which we had barely eaten anything all day. Like we just had like a very light breakfast in order to prep for it. And still, I was not prepared. It's so weird because you get like everything that comes out is a very small dish. And so you're like, oh, that's not going to like fill me up. But then by the end of this 3-hour meal, you're so disgustingly full.
Which course was Oreos?
They did. They brought out the dessert course. It was 3 desserts each. So like 3 different plates, all like with all different desserts on it. Plus it came with some
you think you're not going to get filled, and then they bring you out your 3 personal desserts.
I know. But they told us that they used to bring them out one at a time, like individual courses, but then everybody just gave up after like the first or second dessert. It was just like, I can't take it, just bring me the check. But so they're like, so we just started bringing them all out so that people would at least see all the hard work that like the pastry chef went to.
Or they could give them less desserts. That could...
Did you take a bite of like each dessert and look at the waiter and he's like, what do you think? You said, I wish it was a Reese's cup, but... So what was your favorite part of that? Like, which course was the best?
Well, I had one of the best chocolate martinis I've ever had in my life, which I know is not a course, but I did order 2 of them. They were so good. There was this thing called oysters and pearls, which they're known for, which is just this sort of like creamy, like oyster thing. And I don't normally like oysters, but something about like the sauce that it comes out in is really good. And the main dish was a really good, like sort of ravioli kind of thing with some cheese inside of it and stuff.
So it wasn't just French classics like French fries and French toast.
Right, yeah.
Is this one of those places where, and I've been to a couple places like this, where the waiter sort of waits over your shoulder, and then if there's crumbs, he like quickly sweeps them off the table and is super attentive?
Oh, there's like a whole team of waiters just hanging out, watching everything. And if you get up and go to the bathroom, they will take your napkin away and get a whole brand new napkin and fold it up all nicely and put it there like while you're gone.
How many guys in the bathroom helping you go?
None there, but I do remember we went to French Laundry like maybe 6 years ago. And when we were there, French Laundry is like, it's sort of in like an old house, and the bathrooms are upstairs, so you have to go up these stairs to get there. And I remember I came out of the bathroom and I was going back downstairs, and there was a waiter with like a tray of food, and he was 3/4 of the way up the steps, and as soon as he saw me come, he backed all the way down the steps. And I was like, no, it's okay. And he's like, no, please. He backs all the way down the steps just so I can go down and then back up. And I'm like, this is just a ridiculous level of service. Like, I don't deserve
Did you walk
this.
halfway down and then start tying your shoe?
I turned around and went back up and then waited for him to go and then just started jumping down the stairs.
Check your email. When you guys are at those places, I find that uncomfortable almost. Like, I don't want that guy to have to do that.
Oh,
I know it's his job, but it just makes me feel awkward.
I'm not the kind of person that likes to fine dine at these places, Like, I would certainly rather eat just like regular food, and I hate dressing up, so that also makes me uncomfortable. But just sort of like as an experience, it's
Sure.
just like fascinating to see. Yeah, I'm sure they're paid well to clean up my crumbs, so whatever. Then they can clean up my fucking crumbs.
You're just crumbling up bread.
Whipping crumbs onto the ground, staring at the guy.
I remember too at French Laundry, they brought out the bread. It was like a bread course, and you could choose from 4 different types of rolls. So I was like, I'll just take one of each. Why not? So they gave me one of each, and then I only had eaten one of them. And then we got up to, like, the group that we were with, they'll let you take a tour of the kitchen. And when we came back, my bread was gone because they had, like, cleared out all of our stuff. And I was like, oh, I didn't get to finish the bread, right? We're only halfway through the meal. And they're like, oh, we'll bring you more. So they came and we're just, like, throwing, like, more bread on the table. Like, what happened to all that bread, though? It was good bread.
Piling the table with bread. So they're sorry. All right, well, let's pile our stomachs with snacks here. We're going to try 3 snacks today, and we use a rating system that is 5 points. And we're going to tell you before we try the snacks.
Oh, my goodness. It's a new tradition.
So we have a 5-point scale of love dat, like dat, indifferent to dat, dislike dat, and hate dat.
Should we also bang out the social media right now so we don't forget?
Yeah, go ahead. Geiger.
If you have some feedback for us or want to suggest a snack or agree or disagree with us, you can reach us at youtrydat@gmail.com. You just email us directly, or you can visit our Facebook page, You Tried Dat, on Twitter, @YouTriedDat, on Instagram, You Tried Dat. Mostly just You Tried Dat variations of every social media page that you know. So go for it, and we appreciate any and all questions and feedback we get.
All right, we got the Corozona's Heart Bar as our opening snack.
Starting healthy.
Yes, it's a breakfast item, so we'll start with it. Presumably, you could eat it for breakfast. It's oatmeal squares. This is a Heart Bar Oatmeal Squares.
I think this is blueberry flavor.
Correct, and I think this thing is made to look. To me, to call it Heart Bar means they're pushing the health aspect of it. It's one of those things that you got to be that you're sure is probably still filled with sugar.
It's still only 180 calories and 11 grams of sugar, so it doesn't seem too bad.
You'll be happy to know that I did not borrow these from my work.
Oh.
They came from my wife's work.
I was going to say,
I borrowed
what
them.
clearance bin were they in?
I got them from father-in-law.
This is another in a long line of health bars that just looks like a giant brick.
I thought this was going to be more Quaker Oatish,
Smells like a fig Newton.
Yeah, it has like a thick goo, like holding the oats together. Very, very thick.
Very chewy.
It's
Very
way
chewy.
better than the RX bar and that kind of thing. It's the oats that it has a.
Yep.
You can taste the oatmeal.
There's blueberries in there for sure that you can taste.
Yeah.
None of the flavor is too overwhelming. I think it's pretty pleasant.
I think this looks worse than it tastes.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I agree, though. It looks very gummy.
Yeah.
It looks a lot like those health bars we tried, but doesn't taste nearly as god-awful.
Yep.
Guys, make sure, as it says on the package, to take caution that if you're heating it in the microwave, remove it from the metallized wrapper. Why would you heat this thing up in the microwave?
I could see the microwave in this thing helping it out a little bit.
Kind of idiot. I mean, probably only one that thinks there's sour cream and 7-layer bean dip. This isn't bad. I've eaten half of it.
Yeah.
I could definitely see myself taking this for breakfast. I don't generally sit to eat breakfast on work days, so I feel like I'm taking a piece of fruit and something like this a lot of days. And this is something I would definitely partake in.
The second ingredient is date paste.
Yep.
The fuck is that?
Let's come.
That's the paste that I release on my dates.
That is how your dates go, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't.
Hey, you want to go out on a date with me so I can give you my date paste?
Let's just say most of my dates, I went home pretty backed up full of date paste.
All right, Geiger, what?
Shoot tapioca syrup out of my deck.
What?
That's the third
That's the
ingredient.
next third ingredient. All right, the fourth ingredient is what I shoot.
Invert syrup?
What does that even do?
Invert syrup.
What's invert syrup?
These ingredients are strange.
Protein blend.
Dried egg whites, expeller pressed high oleic sunflower oil.
Yep.
It's something called inulin, plant sterols. I know they're probably healthier than normal food, but when you read some of these health bar stuff, the stuff sounds like it's been just invented in a lab.
Just like the cavemen used to eat.
Geiger, what do you think of this thing? Give us a rating.
It's fine.
And
Yeah, it's got
he
more,
likes it.
I think more of a lot of these health bars we eat haven't had enough of the fruit in it and to like break up the taste. This one doesn't fall in that trap. The consistency is still a bit dense for me. Like I think if I ate this for breakfast, it would just sit in my gut. I am kind of indifferent to it. It's fine. I don't dislike it, but I probably wouldn't like seek it out. I'm just kind of down the middle on it.
All right, so starting off with an indifferent, right down the middle. Chad, what do you think?
I actually kind of like this thing. I thought I was only going to take like a bite or two, and I ate almost all of it. And the only reason I didn't eat all of it is because I'm supposed to eat dinner in a little bit, so I probably should save some room for that. The blueberries were a good flavor, like Geiger said. I think there was like enough of them. I think this would actually maybe be even better if it was like a strawberry flavor, or maybe a cherry flavor would be good. But I'm going to give this a very mild like that.
All right. I enjoy this. I actually could see myself buying these. It's not amazing, but very solid. I'm going to go with Chad, actually a little higher because I'm giving it a very solid like that. And so the Heart Bar with 2 likes and then indifferent, strong start here to the episode, which some other strong competitors coming up. So
yeah, I spilled a little bit on my shirt, and I actually picked up the crumbs and ate the crumbs. So that's how much I liked it.
There was no waiter to sweep them off the front of your shirt?
Right.
I think there's like, for me, sometimes I have a predisposed notion toward the health bars. Like there's almost a ceiling as to how much I could really like it. But we've had a number of them here, and they're not as bad. I'm learning they're not as bad as maybe, well, some of them are, but some of them are not as bad.
We're opening your closed mind.
That's correct.
You've been really anti-health ever since I've known you.
I have always staunchly, if you called this like a filth bar, I probably would have eaten it a lot sooner. I hate health.
The only way you're interested in losing weight is by getting 103-degree fever and eating so many Oreos that you can't eat for a week.
It's effective. It works.
Losing as much date paste as you can just so you're lighter.
Man. I have been emptying myself of date paste on a pretty frequent basis here.
All right, we're going to. There's another strong competitor here, and this has got to be a favorite. This is the Ruffles queso cheese potato chips. And Geiger, you had texted earlier yesterday, "What are we eating?" And I listed the 3 things, and you seemed excited, and I know it was because of the Ruffles. It wasn't because of
yeah. Oh, oatmeal bars? Sweet as fuck. I have fond memories of Ruffles. My dad loves Ruffles, always from a little kid. He is somebody for breakfast that would eat Ruffles and a glass of milk, which is really weird and says a lot about my health proclivities growing up. But
yep, that's awful.
Yeah.
That's just fucking awful.
What would your dad do if you tried to give him the Heart Bar?
He'd go, I don't have any doors that need opening. Like, you just look at it like a doorstop. But, yeah, he wouldn't eat it. I mean, he doesn't really eat breakfast. He just eats Ruffles and, like, hamburgers and stuff.
Your dad famously, like, asked Panera Bread not to put arugula on his sandwich.
No, not arugula, because he would never say the word. He goes, I want a turkey sandwich. And they go, well, it's right there. Yeah, and he said it angrily. I don't know why. And then, like, well, it's right there. It comes with all these, like, just give me turkey. And they're like, well, it comes with arugula. I don't need any of that.
Person trying to tell him what's on it.
When he said there's arugula on it, sir. He said, quote unquote, I don't need any of that frou-frou shit. And I said, Dad, that's just lettuce. He thought Panera was like the height of like snobbery. I'm like, it's still sandwiches. Calm the fuck down.
I don't think he was pretty amped up before he even walked in there.
It was a long day. I don't remember why. But it's not like if he walked in a Subway and they're going to put lettuce on it, he wouldn't be like, you fucking dick. Like he was just against Panera. I don't.
The story is him saying turkey sandwich, and they say, it has on it, give me a turkey sandwich.
Right, sir.
What's in the ingredients?
Unless you're about to say turkey, I don't give a shit. And then he turned to me and said, I'm not your real father. And he slapped me across the face. It was a really sad day. I'm kidding.
And then your wife was standing there and she just shrugged and goes, that's father-in-law.
Right. We had just came over on the boat and we were just learning English. And even I knew what arugula was at that time.
These things smell tasty.
Yeah, I'm also a huge fan of Ruffles. As we established in a previous episode, I used to use them as lunch meat. And they were my favorite chips Growing up, them and Fritos were my top two. These smell really cheesy.
These are the best of this type of ridged chip. I feel like these are the best because they're not. Some of them are just really super hard. These are like a good middle.
What do you think of the Ruffle versus the Wavy? I mean, Lay's owns all this stuff now. It's basically the same thing, but is the Wavy as good as the Ruffle?
No, I would way rather have these.
How about you, Novak?
Ruffles are amazing. I mean, it's almost a perfectly designed chip, a Ruffle. This particular one is very cheesy, but the cheese tastes different than your normal, like, cheddar cheese Ruffle.
Where did you get this, that all the packaging is in Spanish?
I just got it at Target, I think. It wasn't anything in Mexico. I went to El Target.
These are going to be tough to rate.
Yeah.
The cheese flavor is odd. Like, I get that it's not going to be straight up cheese because, like, queso itself has a specific, it's like a spicy cheese dip.
The cheese tastes like that nacho cheese that's dispensed from a machine to me.
Which I do like.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but these are also very salty. Like, you take a bite and the cheese comes in and that's good, but then it hits you with, like, a lot of salt at the end, I feel like.
I like that. There's like a tiny bit of, if you just wait and feel it, you can feel a tiny bit of heat just sitting on the back of your tongue. Like I don't even describe it as heat, but it's just like spiciness.
Almost like a peppery flavor, like a vegetable pepper. I mean, not pepper. Almost like a little, I don't know, dare I say, arugula on top.
Turkey.
Get that frou-frou shit off my chips.
Chad, what do you think? We'll start with you.
Okay, so on my first bite, I was prepared to dish out a love dat to these. When it first started, I thought they were great, but I ate a couple more. The salt started to build, the heat started to build, and I didn't really like that. So these are still pretty good, but they're a little bit too spicy for me. I'm actually going to drag these all the way down to an indifferent to that.
Whoa!
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right. I have that same first feeling as you, Chad, but the feeling did not linger. I like the amount of spice. I think it's a perfect amount where it's just a bit to keep me eating, but not overwhelming. Geiger, you mentioned it tastes peppery. I love that in the chip. That's one of my top things for a chip. And the cheese tastes much better to me than your standard cheese-flavored potato chip, this queso cheese. I think these are hitting all the right notes, and I'm going to give it a love dat.
Ooh. Hello, my love.
Geiger?
All right.
What's that song?
Geiger, you are Mr. Chip.
Yeah.
Yes, you are Mr. Chip.
I am.
And you're Mr. Mexican food. And
You are known as worldwide as Mr. Chip.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a rap album at the start of every song, you'd be like, Mr. Chip, or something like that.
Yo, Mr. Chip in the house. Who wants my date paste?
Dick face.
I said date paste.
Oh.
Jesus. We're still using metaphors, right?
Wait a second.
As a breakfast chip, as we know Ruffles are, I wouldn't eat this. But
Would these be good dunked in a glass of milk?
oh no, it would be terrible. These are very good. I like I'm with Novak. I think I would rather eat these than like the cheddar and sour cream version, which to me gets a little too like something about it is like too sweet or too creamy.
Frou-frou.
Too frou-frou. Yeah, they get way too fucking fancy. Like those are the types of chips they would serve at French Laundry. I would gladly take
you at French Laundry.
Where's the high life, dude? I don't know. Just give me like a steak. Yeah, he would have a hard time.
It's like threatening the guy cleaning the crumbs.
Yeah, get away from me! I can clean my own plate. No, like I think he would have a hard time with just being told what he's gonna eat.
You got to tell the Dick Geiger medieval time, or not medieval time,
Renaissance
Fair story.
I really hope he never listens to this. So my dad does not like to be messed with. So like
clearly, like by putting arugula on his sandwich.
Right. And he doesn't like you putting any crazy pranks, like giving him lettuce on a sandwich. But there's two instances actually. I won't make these too long, but. Do you guys remember Ed DeBevick's, the restaurant?
Sure, I used to love that place. They like make fun of you there. Correct.
Like it's a 1950s style diner, and all the waiters are also sort of like actors, and they like all have characters. And this one guy was just giving my dad the business, and he had like a Champion sweatshirt on. Like he goes, "Oh, it's the Champion. Hey, Champion, you gonna order dinner?" And my dad goes, "Just take my order." And he's like glaring at the guy. I'm like, "Dad, this is the whole thing. Like, relax." I just want him to take my order. Like, he was getting really angry, and the guy was like, what would you like, sir? Like, he was getting off. My dad's like a big, bearded guy. Like, he looks like a guy you wouldn't want to mess with.
Did he take you there, or did you take him there?
No, he took us. My sister wanted to go there, knowing what it was.
I remember I went there once on my birthday, and they brought out a birthday cake for me, and then the guy, I was wearing glasses at the time still, and the guy took off my glasses and picked up the cake and shoved it in my face.
Oh, my Lord.
I thought it was funny. I don't know, I was like 8 at the time or something.
My father would have set that place on fire if they dared let a piece of cake touch his face.
Could you imagine if they did that to him?
So when my parents were still together, they took a date to the Renaissance Fair, which for those of you who don't know, near Illinois, there's a place called the Renaissance Fair, which is like a festival that's medieval themed. So all the workers dress up like knights and princesses and wenches and kings and all that. And everything is medieval themed everywhere you go. And so this guy, my dad is like looking at the map trying to figure out where to go. And this guy walks in and was like, "Hello, my lord." And I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be good. When my dad started, right? The guy, apparently, my mom told me a bunch of the second hand, but it was like, the guy is like, "Are you having a hard time figuring out where to go?" He's like, "I'm fine, just leave me alone." And the guy like puts his arm around my dad's shoulders like, "Can you not read, my lord?" And he goes, "Do not touch me." And my mom goes, "You should probably take your hand off your shoulder." And the guy's like, "Sorry, my lord," and like walked away. I'm like, what was my dad going to do? Like sock this 16-year-old that already has to suffer the humility of wearing tights and like a feathered cap? "Can you not read, my lord? Get your hand off me." Okay.
I heard if you yell at the people at Ed DeBevick's, then they take your food to the back and cover it with date paste.
Is that true? That might be why there's no longer any Ed DeBevick's near me.
Right.
This is loosely related, but it just made me think of my also very surly, angry father, who I once took for Father's Day to a Northwestern basketball game just because it was a local, close game. And I thought he'd want to watch college basketball. I like sports. We could watch a sports game together. And he didn't know a guy on the floor. I mean, because it's just a random college team. Didn't know a single guy. Just proceeded to the entire game scream at these guys about, "You don't know how to play any damn zone defense, and what the hell are they doing?" Just angry. Like that, and there's people looking at us. I'm like, "Dad, settle down. You don't know any. Like, you have no investment in this at all, and don't know any of these players." What? And then at the end of the game, just said, "Oh, it was a lot of fun." Like, you liked it.
He just likes heckling.
He loves being belligerent to these poor people.
I will say, there's one. All right, we're devolving, but this also reminded me of one more story of like this is actually about my grandfather. So my mother's father and my dad went to a Bucks game, like a Milwaukee Bucks basketball game, long time ago, I think before I was born. They have the person sing the national anthem, and apparently they're terrible. They claimed that they never mentioned who it was ahead of time. I doubt that very much, that they just handed this guy a mic, let him sing, and not announce him in any way whatsoever. But my grandfather was saying, like, "What is this guy, an idiot? He sounds awful." Like, you just basically like loudly shouting about how terrible he was, disrespecting our country and stuff. And then they said at halftime, they retroactively announced that it was somebody from the Special Olympics.
Oh, God.
There's no way that happened at halftime. There's no way they sent out a mentally impaired person to sing in front of thousands of people and not warn them what was happening. So the moral of the story is old men like to yell at people, which leads me to Ruffles.
Yeah, what's your rating? You still haven't rated.
That's what I do. I'll make it short and sweet. I like these a lot. These are very good. And I'm on the border of a like and a love. Who am I kidding? I love these. Love Dad.
Yeah,
Love
you're
Dad.
Mr. Chip. Bring the love.
Mr. Chip.
All right, so we have 2 loves and an indifference. So Ruffles now the new leader in the clubhouse. Strong episode. We've had a couple downer episodes. This is a step up. We're going for a segment here, and this is our second recipe challenge where Geiger this time is going to come up with has researched a couple recipes, and Chad and I are going to try to guess the ingredients. And listening back to the first time we did this made me real nervous for when I'm going to go, because I knew it was real nice just sitting there knowing all the ingredients, looking at the paper. But man, I'm going to be terrible at this.
Okay, but just don't say dough and then you'll be fine.
I found the
Plate?
secret to not The secret to not looking like a huge idiot is just not be the one that has to be in the contest. So this is right up my alley.
Somehow you're still gonna fuck it up.
Right. I also try to find common recipes. I used one of them from BettyCrocker.com, pretty basic, and then another I think from like All Recipes. So they're all like basic, generic recipe websites. So in keeping with your theme, Novak, from the first time, we're gonna start with like an appetizer type dish, the main course, and then dessert.
Great.
All right.
So for your appetizer, you get your choice of soup or salad. So this is soup, basic chicken noodle soup. That's all you have to do. So Novak, you're the new guy. We'll let you start first so you can get your feet wet with this.
Sour cream.
Well, that didn't take long.
I'm gonna go with chicken.
Let me check. Yes, there's chicken in there. You got it.
Hang on, how many ingredients are in this thing?
Oh, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Great.
Oh, jeez.
All right, I'm gonna go noodles.
Well, very good. Now, Novak, here's a tip. Do not say soup.
And we're not saying broth either, right? Because that's the entire rest of the thing. So it's ingredients in there.
I am saying nothing else.
Now, water is an ingredient. So as of last time, I'm still going to go with water.
Incorrect.
They use broth. It's broth.
It's chicken broth.
Broth part water, though?
Okay, so you're just gonna say like oxygen because that's a molecule that's in everything.
Yes.
The beef stew was all water.
That was a shitty recipe for beef stew. It should have been stock. You don't make this stuff with water. You make it with stock.
All right, try to guess a few more, Ted.
Yeah.
Carrots are going to be in there.
Yep.
You want me to just keep guessing?
Yeah, go ahead.
So probably celery, maybe onions or potatoes.
Onions, yes. No potatoes.
Salt, pepper.
Yep, on both.
I don't know what else would be in there, actually.
This one, actually, I'm sorry. It doesn't call for salt, which is kind of odd. The ingredients they have are
You dumbass, there's no salt.
Well, if there's salt in the broth, you don't need it. It's only if you use low-sodium broth.
olive or vegetable oil, 2 cloves garlic.
If I would have said broth, would I have gotten it?
It literally says 2 cups of like Progresso chicken broth.
I'm trying to think of how making this from scratch or something.
Yeah. Green onions, carrots, chicken, noodles, fresh parsley or parsley flakes, pepper, and then the one everyone always forgets is a bay leaf.
I should have known bay leaf. I just made chicken stock last night.
Oh, wait a minute. You made it from stock. Don't tell him you can make stock, and I was going to get angry. Did you put water in there?
Yeah, we had a leftover rotisserie chicken.
Controversy!
It was a bunch of chicken bones, water, bay leaves, some other stuff.
All right. For your main course, you guys are going to tell me. Now, this is one that has been modified a lot, but think of the most basic version of meatloaf. Okay? So I will hold on. My phone just refreshed. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 ingredients.
All right. I go first?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hmm?
7 ingredients. They repeated one. I have no idea why. But anyway, go ahead.
Beef.
Beef is in there, yes.
Oh, it's got beef in it?
Yep.
What kind of meatloaf is this?
One with meat in it.
Okay. I'm going to say onions.
Nope.
That's a hard recipe. I would go breadcrumbs are probably in there.
Breadcrumbs is in there, yep.
Eggs? Is there an egg in it?
There,
Yeah,
yes.
it's going to be an egg. And then beyond that, it's going to be some seasonings and stuff mostly probably.
Salt and pepper?
Salt and pepper are both in there. And then
I
think
feel
about
like
what
almost every meatloaf I've had has had onions in it.
Maybe. Think about what you put on top.
Date paste.
It actually says cum, which is really weird.
I was not talking about that. I was talking about the actual date paste.
Oh, man, I feel really bad.
Yeah.
I thought that was a metaphor this whole time. My bad.
No.
Ground beef, chili sauce or ketchup, egg, breadcrumbs, thyme leaves, onion, salt, pepper. They mentioned chili sauce and ketchup again. I think that's because you put it in it and then you also put it on top, like as a topping. All right. So Chad,
what you do is get me in this game and we'll move the segment along.
Yeah.
Really quick.
So, well, Chad has won, but we'll still do the dessert round just for fun.
Great.
All right. This is basic fudge brownies. So no frosting, just your basic chewy brown square.
This is a from scratch, so it's not brownie mix.
Correct. That's
Yeah.
right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One. I'm sorry. 7. 1 is optional, depending on how you like your brownies.
All right. I'm starting.
You go.
For sure we have eggs.
Yes,
Flour.
that is correct.
Sugar.
There is sugar.
I wonder what they're going to use for chocolate. Let's say cocoa powder.
You nailed it.
I gotta get one.
I'll just give you a hint since you lost anyways. Think about like if you make brownies from a box mix, what are the couple things you have to add in? Like it's eggs, like you said, but what else?
I'm gonna go baking powder.
No.
Yeah, because you usually don't want brownies to rise that much, right? So that's probably not the leavening stuff. I would have said like some vegetable oil.
Nope.
No? Oh.
Yeah, butter, sugar, cocoa powder, kosher salt,
Oh, sure.
vanilla extract, eggs, flour, and then the optional one is like walnuts or pecans if you want to put them in.
Sea salt?
Sea salt, and then this bar saves lives gets ground up on top.
Yeah, most baking recipes call for kosher salt to the point where we had been like, oh, I guess we should get kosher salt. But then I didn't have to because I got some for free when I did that next door grocery run. There was a bunch of kosher salt, so I was like, oh, sweet.
Novak, the good news is round 3 of the recipe challenge. It's just you and me, so we can just idiot the shortest round in history. What's in gum? Ketchup. No.
I shouldn't have.
What's in gum? Who's making gum?
Homemade gum?
Gonna cook some gum tonight.
I shouldn't have just my entire life relied on other people to provide me cooking food for me instead of doing some of this on my own.
All right, glass of water, go. Oh, cup. A cup.
Oxygen.
Yeah.
Hydrogen.
A second hydrogen.
Yes.
Damn it.
Oxygen. We made it.
Osmosis.
Electrons.
What is happening? We're just shouting science terms?
Quark.
We're going down to the
Tesseract.
Calcium. Tesseract is not a scientific term. That's a made-up term. Well, maybe it isn't. I don't know.
All right, we've got one snack left here, and it is to tap a dessert, and it's the Creme de Pirouline. Is that the correct pronunciation?
Sure. Why not? These are cream-filled wafers, and so these are big, long, like, straw-shaped things. And it says almost like breadsticks or something. And then it looks like they're filled with chocolate, which it says is chocolate hazelnut, so...
I think chocolate hazelnut is the sort of base flavor for them. They do have other flavors, but it's kind of their main one. We have them in a little package that looks like when you get 2 breadsticks at like a Greek restaurant or something to go with your salad or soup. But they normally come in a tin, I'm pretty sure, because I've seen them in tins.
I am having a hard time getting it open.
Have you guys had these before?
I have not.
I feel like I've had something similar, but not these specifically.
I was reading some reviews.
Oh, these are stale.
Are they?
I was reading a review and oh shit!
No, mine don't taste stale.
Oh, mine do.
I have no idea what these are supposed to. No, these are fine.
Are yours hard or something?
No, they're like really chewy. What's your Best By date on
That's
yours?
how they're supposed to be.
Oh, really? Oh, mine says best before May 20-something, 2018, which was like a week ago.
Food doesn't just explode the minute it hits.
That's not
expiration.
bad. That's pretty decent expiration date.
All right. Okay, great. These are awesome. Keep going.
I think I think that's how they're supposed to taste. Like the middle is chalkier than it is
I
creamy.
think it's supposed to taste stale and expired. I could be wrong.
All right.
Should we just go grab another snack?
No, it's fine. I just thought they'd be crunchier. The flavor's all right, though. What were you about to say, Novak? I interrupted you.
Oh, I was reading the reviews, and people downgraded it quite a bit because they ordered tins, and every one of them was broken into pieces. So they definitely crumble pretty easily.
Yeah.
They're a lot like, what's that thing we ate that went on top of ice cream that seemed like it was paired with ice cream? I think it was Dolcetto wafers or something.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
The outside is similar to that. It's like the wafer part is a lot like the wafer that tastes like the wafer that they put on ice cream at some ice cream shops.
But those were like way crunchier than these.
Yeah.
Wafer's very fragile. The chocolate tastes weird. Like I don't even identify the flavor as chocolate, really. It could just taste sugary. It doesn't taste like chocolate to me.
You think that's because the hazelnut part of it?
Yeah, maybe. I'm not the biggest fan of hazelnut. I always get bummed out because I just want it to be chocolate, like pure chocolate.
All right, I guess I'm leading this off. This is a hard one to rate. It's just a little chocolate wafer, but Chad's reaction is really throwing a loop in my brain here. I'm like trying to guess if they're stale or not, or if that's how they're supposed to taste, but I think that's how they're supposed to taste. The chocolate's not great. The wafer's fine. I don't know if it's coming off of some things I liked a lot better, but this is not impressing me all that much. I wouldn't seek these out or recommend them to somebody, but I could easily get through the package. I'm going to go with an indifferent to dat.
I see Geiger has already returned to the Ruffles.
They're very good. It's going to be a dislike that for me, I think. They break apart really easy. Like I said, the filling doesn't really taste like anything. It just tastes indiscriminately sugary, and it kind of has this weird crumbly consistency. I just wasn't that impressed by it. I would never once seek it out. Again, I guess if somebody handed it to me, I'd eat it. I wouldn't be ticked. But I don't really like.
I'd be super annoyed if somebody was like, "Here, try this," and it tasted like crap. I'd be like, "You asshole!"
If someone gave you a snack and just out of the goodness of their heart and said, "Here, I really want you to try this," you took a bite and didn't like it, you'd turn around and say, "You asshole!"
Yes, don't give me bad food.
My grandmother made those. Fuck your grandma.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a dislike that for me. These aren't that great.
All right, Geiger. He does not hand those out regularly, so
I will eat pretty much
rating.
Out of the toilet.
So these things have no chance. Chad, what are you going to really stick it to them, or what are you going to do?
Well, look, maybe they're not stale, but if you have to debate it,
right,
like you've already lost. You know what I mean? Like you shouldn't have something where people are wondering, is this stale or not? These should have been crunchy. I agree. I agree that the hazelnut tasted weird. I usually love Nutella filling and stuff, but there's something off about this mixture. So I'm going to go dislike that.
All right, so 2 dislikes and an indifferent.
Oh, these are bad.
So not a good rating there for the Creme de Pirouline, which means Ruffles potato chips are the winner of this week's
Breakfast
episode.
of Champions!
But to be said, the Heart Bar put up a good showing.
I mean, that was my favorite thing this week was the Heart Bar. So
The Heart Bar was definitely present.
It was definitely something that we ate.
So, guys, what's your overall thoughts here? Got anything to say? Anything?
Neutrons.
Father-in-law.
Father-in-law, date paste everywhere? All right.
What do you guys? What are your opinions on your father-in-laws?
Oh boy.
Mine does my taxes. He's fantastic.
My father-in-law is very, very, very helpful.
To be clear, he's not fantastic just because he does my taxes. Those are 2 separate things. He's a fantastic guy. He also does my taxes.
That's basically the only reason you got married, wasn't it?
Yeah, I married my wife for her accountant father.
My father-in-law is a great guy. He helps us a ton. Kids love him.
Real serious answer. My father-in-law is hell of a guy.
Father-in-law, great man. No back about you.
I enjoy my father-in-law. He can just learn to do my damn taxes.
You got to upgrade.
So next time we're going to have a 4th of July themed episode. So gear up for that. And we'll catch you next time when we try 3 new 4th of July themed snacks.
Deuces.
Yep.